Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to take a look at some batteries that have been sent over by the nice people over at Hobbyking. So let's get into it and see what we got. The first one we're going to take a look at is the Turnigy Rapid 5500 milliamp 2S. Let's get into that. Comes with your charging lead, balance lead. This is a 2S 7.4 volt 140C. As you can see, it's in a hard case. So 140C should pack quite a punch. Should be entertaining when we throw it in a few cars. See what we can get out of it. And I run XT60s on my speed controllers, so we'll be putting that on there when it comes to charging and testing. But for now, we're going to take a look and see what chassis this fits. Now, you know, if you've been watching the channel, a lot of my stuff is Tamiya. So let's try a few chassis, see what we can get it in. First up, let's take a look at the Tamiya TT-01. So this is a fairly old chassis, to be honest. So whether you'd still run it, not sure. Now, as you can see, this was meant for stick packs. But if you wanted, you could trim the chassis up so you could actually fit it in there. But that's entirely up to you. But a lot of people won't be running these. They'll end up running something a little bit newer. So let's try a few more. Next up, we've got a Tamiya TT-01. Fairly common chassis, 4-wheel drive. A lot of people still run these. And as you can see, it fits in there. Now the only downside is you can't get the battery strap on there, but there is a solution. So these are pretty easy and pretty cheap to pick up. So all you'll do is just strap it into the chassis, make sure it's nice and solid, can't go nowhere, and then off you go. Next up, we've got the TT-02B. So yes, this is a TT-02B, not a TT-02, but the chassis is the same. You've just got longer arms, different wheels, stuff like that. But the battery fitment should be the same. So let's see if we fit in there. As you can see, it's quite snug in there. Doesn't rattle around too much. Maybe you might want to put a little bit of padding in the side just to stop it. As you can see, you can actually get the battery strap on there. So any of the TT-02 variants, this battery will fit and you'll have no problem. And 140C should be quite fun in this. Next up, we've got the Grasshopper. So you might remember this from the speedrun challenge. So we'll be testing this. But first of all, let's see if this battery will fit in here. Unfortunately, a little bit too long, but don't worry, we have got one that hopefully will fit and should be quite fun when we get this one up and running. So let's carry on. So out of the 3 test cars, this will fit 2 out of the 3. Fit the TT-02, no problem. It will fit the TT-01 with the battery strap. Unfortunately, won't fit the Grasshopper. But don't forget how old that chassis is. It was originally designed smaller batteries, so you can get a smaller hard case. Get a Shorty in there, should fit without an issue. So even if you're looking for a 2S, don't necessarily need to go for the 5500. Go and check out their range, pick yourself up a Shorty, throw that in there and have some fun. And test these batteries. Pretty simple. Might remember this from the speedrun challenge. We're going to use basically a stock TT-01. So you've got a standard 540 motor in there, standard pinion gear, standard spur gear, and we're going to do a few speed tests. We're going to compare standard NIM, 7.2 volt, ready for most cars. This fits Grasshopper, TL01, all the rest of them. We've got my 2S that I used in the speedrun challenge for the Grasshopper. So we know these will fit. So we're also going to throw that in so we can compare the NIM to this 2S. And then we're going to be comparing this to this. So as I said, this is a 140C, whereas this is a 50C, both 7.4 volt. So this should have quite a punch. And yeah, see if we can get it any quicker when we throw this in and see if the car survives. Either way, it's going to be fun. Next up, see what we got. So we've got a 3S 2200 Shorty pack. This one's a 40C. So you've got 11.1 volts. Judging by the size, we should be able to get this in quite a few different cars. So let's take a look at that first, see what we can fit. First of all, as you can see, you can actually fit it in the cars that are supposed to run a stick pack. So due to it being a little bit slimmer, so that means you can fit it in TL01s, your FF02s, anything like that. So let's see what else we can get it in. Right. As you can see, you can actually fit it in. Anything you will need to do, pack it out a bit so it don't rattle around. So a bit of dense foam, something like that. Cut a few pieces up, stuff it in there, stop that from rattling around. And that can be run on that. That one should be quite good fun to test, because we know we can run this on the 2S lipo that I did in the speedrun challenge. But we're going to do the same again. We're going to compare the NIM, my other 2S, and we're going to throw the 3S in there. But we're going to do it all on a 380, standard pinion, standard gearing, same as what we're doing on the rest of the cars. They're all going to be stock, so that way then we can see what performance gains we get from a stock car just by changing the battery. So that should be fun. So we're not going out and over gearing them and putting a silly quick motor in it or anything like that. As I say, they're going to be standard. So 540 in the TT-01, 540 in the TT-02B, and the 380 in this, standard gearing. We'll see what we get. Next up, let's see if the Shorty will fit in the TT-01 and see if we can get the battery strap on there. As you can see, it fits quite nice. You can see the holes just there, so you'll be able to get your pins in on both sides. The only thing you might want to do is pack it out. So same again, bit of foam just to stop it from rattling around. And that'll fit in there quite nice. As it fits in the TT-01, we know it's going to fit in the TT-02 because this has got the biggest battery tray out of all of them. So that'll fit fine. Same again, bit of packing, just stop it rattling around so it doesn't get damaged, and it should be good to go. Next up, this is the Turnigy 3300 milliamp. Now this one's a 30C discharge, but 3300 milliamp. Be interesting to see if it's got a bit more punch than the 2200, because we have seen that in the past with different batteries. So let's check, see what it fits. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too thick to fit into the Grasshopper and to be able to get the battery cover on. Now if you really wanted to, you could move your speed controller to the rear up here, and you could actually put the battery inside. There'd be, I'd say, plenty of room to get it in there. Have it sat there, put a strap around there, make sure it can't go nowhere, and you could use it like that. But as we know the Shorty fits, we're going to test the 3S Shorty in that. So we're not too concerned about running the other 3S in here, because we're still going to be able to run this on 3S with a 3A2. So it's going to be good fun. We'll see how we get on. Next up, TT-01 again. Let's just quickly check this, see if it'll fit. Once again, a little bit too thick, but not that much of an issue, because we know we can put a strap around there that'll hold it in place, stop it from going anywhere, and we can still run it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. As you can see, the last test fit, it's in the TT-02. Once again, a little bit of packing, just stop it rattling around. We should be good to go with that. There we go. We've got our 3 cars, we've got our 3 batteries. Now we know we can test the Grasshopper on the NIM, the 2S and the Turnigy 3S, so we should get decent comparison between that. We know the TT-02 will run this along with the TT-01, and we know we can get the strap around that, so we can test that, and we can test these as well. So we know these will all fit in the TT-01 and TT-02, so we should be able to get some decent comparisons, and we can see how much faster you can make a stock geared car compared to the NIM setup with Turnigy's range of batteries. So let's go see how fast we can go, shall we? So first of all, we got the Grasshopper 380 motor. You can see we're zeroed out, and this is on the 2S, the Z lipo. So we're going to test this, and then we're going to move on to the 3S. So let's see how quick this goes. So as you can see, we've got a maximum of 11.5 miles an hour. That's on the 2S with the 380. So now we're going to put the Turnigy 3S in and see how fast that goes. So you can see we've got the 3S in there, just packed out with a bit of dense foam, just stop it rattling around. So we've got 11.5 miles an hour on the 2S for the Z lipo. So now we're going to try the 3S, see how quick that goes. So this time round we've got 16 miles an hour. So 11.5 miles an hour on 2S, 16 miles an hour on a 3S. And that's just with the 380. So you can imagine if you put a 540 in there, even if it was standard, it'd be a lot quicker. And if you were going to put a tune motor in there as well, even quicker than that. So we're back again, and this time we're going to run the TT-01 on the NIM, just to get a baseline on this. See we're zeroed out on there, see what speed we get out of this. So you can see 13.7 mile an hour on that. So next one we're going to try. We're going to drop the Z2S in there, and then we can compare this to the Turnigy 2S. So you go, 15.4 on that one. So now we're going to be putting the Turnigy 2S in. So it should be interesting to see what difference is between them. So we've got the Turnigy Rapid 2S strapped in. So what we get. So we've got 15.6 that time. That was a bit better. It is very windy. The ground's not the best. It's very cold and wet. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Strap a 3S in. See what we get out of it this time. So 21.3, that's what we got. It's actually quite fun. So now we've got the 3300 milliamp, which you can just about see there. We've got that strapped in. So see if we get anything quicker out of it from them 1100 milliamps. You can see we got 20.9 out of that, but it's pretty uncontrollable in this weather. Probably doesn't help that I've got rally blocks on. But either way, you can see that's pretty quick. So for the next bit, we're literally just going to have a bash. We're going to use the TT-02B. You can see we've got the 3S in there, packed out with a bit of foam. So a bit of fun. Right, so I'm back from taking the cars out. So let's take a look at some of the speeds we got. Now keep in mind, the Grasshopper and the TT-01 both running stock motor, stock gearing. And we're going to compare what we got on the usual 2S compared to the Turnigy 3S that was supplied by Hobbyking. You can make them a lot faster. You could put a 540 in there, lower turns, and throw a 2S in, see how much quicker you can make them. But as I say, we're going off stock gearing, stock motor. If you got it out of the box, how much faster will it go with the 3S in it? So on my 2S, I managed to get 11.5 miles an hour. And on the 3Ss, we got 16 miles an hour. Now, when you look at the speed alone, you might not think 16 miles an hour is that fast. But when you consider the fact that going over to a 3S will give you a 39% increase in speed on the stock motor and gearing, and a kit supplied speed controller, that ain't bad. Just imagine what it would do if you had higher rated speed controller, bigger motor, lower turn, or even a brushless system in it. We may have to find out, but either way, very impressed with the increase we got on the Grasshopper with the 3S. Now on to the TT-01. Now we actually ran this on a NIM as well to get a speed out of that, and we got around 13.7 mile an hour. That was the stock baseline for the TT-01. We then ran the 2S in there, and we got 15.4 mile an hour. We then swapped over to the Turnigy 2S. We got 15.6 mile an hour. Once again, bit of an increase, and considering standard motor, standard pinion, both 7.2 volts, but the discharge rate on this one, 140C. Imagine putting a quicker motor in there, the amount of punch it's got, that'd go even better. So much so that I've actually got a brushless setup that I'll likely drop in that. So once again, from a stock NIM to the Turnigy 2S, that was nearly a 14% increase in speed. We moved on to the fun ones. So we threw the 3Ss in there. Both of them performed about the same, but as you could tell, it was wet, it was cold, Rally blocks, not the ideal tyre to try and drive fast, but we give it a go. Now we got around 21 mile an hour with each of those, which works out to a 53% increase in speed over a NIM. And like I say, standard 540, standard spur gear, standard 19 tooth pinion, kit supplied, speed controller, onto the TT-02B. Didn't do any speed runs in this, just decided I'm going to throw the 3S in, see what happens, see how it performs. I noted the other two cars were both on standard motor, standard gearing. This one, however, there's a 15 turn brushed in it, and a bigger pinion. Can't actually remember what size pinion in there, but I know it's bigger. And all I'm going to say is these batteries definitely put out some power, because the motor, yeah, that's no longer being a motor. Not the end of the world, because it just means we can throw brushless in it and have even more fun next time. So these are definitely going to be my go-to batteries now for throwing in the cars and having some fun. I'm even going to have a look and see if they've got a stick pack in the 2S. Get one of them ordered, so at least then I can throw that in the likes of the Grasshopper and any of my other chassis, because I've got a TL01 project I want to have a run around with. And to help with that, the guys over at Hobbyking have actually given me a discount code that is valid until the end of February. I'll put it up on the screen just there. So type that in at checkout, you get a 5% discount. I'll also drop the affiliate links in the description for any of these. So if you go and purchase them, it will help me in the channel, and see what other projects we can get in as well. So once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to Hobbyking and Turnigy for sending out these batteries. Go and check out their site. They don't just sell batteries, speed controllers, motors, planes, cars, drones, whatever you're looking for, there's a good chance they've got it. So go and check the site out. Don't forget the discount code, just there. Drop that in, get your 5% off. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and all the rest of it. And I'll see you in the next one. Now I better go and fit this in there. See how much fun we can have with that.